never been before. Welcome to the Vortex.
I just briefly wanted to demonstrate the dowsing rods, and when we use dowsing rods we have to educate them and ask them a yes and no answer, because when you say you want a no answer, the rods will cross like this, and if you get a yes answer, the rods will open up all the way and then they will come back to the rest position. This is a form of kinesiology. Okay, this is down by the ocean in Malibu, and we're watching the waves come in, and there's many legends about the oceans from ancient mariners. The ancient mariners told us about the sea people that lived under the ocean, and the sea people sometimes would appear above the ocean, and the sailors called them sea maidens or mermaids. And very often the configuration of the rocks around the area where the mermaids were seen had holes in them, and they reverberated certain sounds, such as a moaning sound, or even some of the sailors would hear a singing sound. And not knowing that it was treacherous in the area, they would sometimes wreck their ships, and they would lose the ships, and of course the sea people would gather the treasures that are from the wrecked ship. These sea people are keepers of one of the crystal skulls, a crystal skull that is in a pink color, and we find out throughout the planet there are several of these different crystal skulls in different locations around the planet. And one of these crystal skulls has been found by Mitchell Hedges, and it is a clear crystal, and it does have a movable jaw. There are other crystal skulls around the planet. One of them is a bluish color that is located in Peru, beneath the ruins of Machu Picchu, in a huge cavern underneath these ancient ruins. There is another crystal skull in the mountains of the moon in Africa, and this is a green one. Various locations on this planet. And a few weeks ago, the History Channel played a segment about the crystal skulls, which was incorrect. There is no prophecy that states that when all these crystal skulls come together that will be the end of this system of things. That's not a true statement. Most of the crystal skulls will never be recovered, and the legend of all the crystal skulls, all 13 coming together, is not accurate. So we move from the ocean out into some of the ancient ruins such as Peru, and we find out that the people that inhabited this great location, archaeological location, seem to have disappeared without having left us much to go on. Many of the records and the books and the artifacts from the civilization that inhabited the Peruvian ruins of Machu Picchu have been lost, and some of them have been destroyed. And there is evidence that at the time that the continent of Mu was disrupted and there was cataclysms during this time, that some of the people who inhabited the Mu continent ended up in South America. Some of the people that had influence of the Mu culture ended up in Africa. And some of them ended up in the Greek islands around Crete, and they were called the Minoan culture. Some of them were able to make their way down to the northern part of New Zealand, and these people were called the Maoris. And they came on around to Polynesian countries, to the Hawaiian island, and they were called Maui. and they moved on into the main continent of the United States, and they were called the Moki people. And we'll find similarities amongst many of these different cultures, and we'll find much of their lure and their teachings support one another on the different places of the planet. And we find out that these people had, they kept records about the calendars. They kept records about their history. And much of these records have been gone away. And about the only way that we can access some of these records now is by the use of dowsing rods. So with the use of dowsing rods, we're able to go back and get information about these people around the different places in the earth who were keepers of these ancient crystal skulls. And we find out that some of the people, some of the skills from the people who developed these crystal skulls are still retained today. There are people who are able to work these crystals and carve them, and most of the people that carve these crystals, the skulls, have a knowing about it, and they can remember how to do it. So we move on from the crystal skulls, we move on to some of the great artifacts that are well known around this planet. And of course, one of these artifacts that is so well known around the planet is the Ark of the Covenant, that they believe was part of the Hebrew culture a long time ago. And this Ark of the Covenant, from what we understand, was built by the Hebrews, and the Hebrews had lived in Egypt, so they had access to the trades and the ability to craft this great artifact. And we find out that the artifact seemed to have disappeared around the time of when the Syrians invaded Israel. Anyway, that's the story, and nobody has heard of it since then. However, what people don't know is that the ark that they used, the Hebrews used, was secreted away, and it's probably someplace on this planet. And many people would like to find it, and many people would like to locate it, and the story of the Raiders of the Lost Ark is not too far off. In modern times, we find out, because of the significance of the Ark of the Covenant in relation to the Judeo-Christian belief system, would do a lot to support them. There are different artisans on the planet today who have gotten together, and they have formed a corporation, and they are working in Cern, Switzerland, and they are going to reconstruct this artifact the best that they can. They're going to make a duplicate of the Ark of the Covenant, and very soon they are going to make an announcement that some scientists and archaeologists did actually find this Ark of the Covenant in Turkey. But that's a false statement, because what they're going to do is present us with this Ark of the Covenant that they have made. And everybody will believe their story that it has been found. And they will take this Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, and already there has been agreement with the Muslim people over in Jerusalem to share the Dome of the Rock. And they will, the people who are that have constructed this Ark of the Covenant will be given permission to build a temple on this plot of ground within the area of the Dome of Rock. And they have already got these stones cut out, and they will be able to fit these stones together, and very quickly they will be able to have a temple to house this great Ark of the Covenant. And we'll find that down through the ages, everybody has been interested in treasures